Hello there. Hello again. Welcome back to my channel, Mama of the Restless Heart. I'm Emily. Thank you for joining me. Today, Kara's sleeping, late nap. She had some shots yesterday, so today she's pretty wiped out. So I have a confession to make. I had coffee, quite a big glass of coffee at 6 p.m. I know it's bad, but I figure my husband's gonna be up all night gaming anyway, so whatever. I don't really care. Tonight's his night to do whatever Daddy wants to do. He gets Thursday and Friday, and usually he comes home and he goes downstairs and does his thing because he's part of a D&D group. And sometimes Monday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Wednesday, I get a little me time depending on how things shake out. If he gets home from work in time or if Kara is feeling up to it because she's discovered separation anxiety again. Yay! So, anywho, so I had a little free moment. Thought I'd sit down and do a video. What am I going to do a video about? That's a great question. I don't know. I think in my last video I thought about some different topics that I might do on this channel, different things that I might discuss. And I think the one other than like an introduction, a good one to start with would be my sort of before even having a kid. So like pregnancy, pre-pregnancy, excuse me, coffee, damn you. What I expected motherhood to be like, what it's actually like, and then from there I might go on and do like my birth story and stuff like that. So, maybe a good way to break it down would be like physically, psychologically, spiritually. I mean, motherhood is actually quite spiritual. You are definitely connected with some sort of higher power. God, Krishna, I don't know, but it's like, it's on a whole nother level, I tell you what. Okay, so before I had Kara, we had been trying, let's see, maybe we'll go with that. Yeah, we had kind of been trying, more like we weren't actively not trying, for about 6 months. And we were getting to the stage where I was thinking about maybe actually trying. And then we found out we were pregnant with Kara. And when we first found out, I was ecstatic, and I was like, this is great, because I was a very natural, when I first got pregnant, I was vegan, I was very active, very fit, and I had a very clear goal of how I wanted to raise my kid. I wanted to maintain my vegan diet all throughout the pregnancy. I wanted to give birth absolutely no drugs, no assistance. You know I wanted a midwife and not a doctor, although that's the one thing that I did get out of from my plans. That's the one thing that actually did go as planned. I know I wanted to raise her vegetarian, if not vegan, like I was raised, and stuff like that, and breastfeeding 100%, blah, 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 and that's great. May I just say, if you have goals like that and you can stick to them, fantastic. That is wonderful. My sister-in-law, I think, actually had goals like that, and she stuck to them even through like 5 or 6 hours of pushing. Not labor, mind you, pushing. She's amazing. She's a rock star. I'm just going to put that out there. And she's breastfeeding and all that stuff. Like, she is one tough cookie. That's awesome. I was not so tough, but my circumstances were a little bit different. Not much. Mostly I'm just a wuss. So I'll be honest. So I had these very, I don't want to say strict, but I had definite goals in mind of how I wanted things to go. And I think that was probably my biggest problem, because with pregnancy, childbirth, anything where another person is involved, especially a baby, it's not going to go to plan. And I should have known that. And I should have just been like, you know what, whatever, man, just let it go and let it flow and let it happen. But I wasn't. I'm a list person. I'm very task oriented. I'm very, no, this needs to be done. I need to check this off at 5 p.m. Like, that's how this is going to go. And I think that's probably my problem, that I couldn't just, like, I could say it's just going to go how it's going to go, and I'm letting things happen. You know, I'm just going with the flow, but I didn't really mean it. I didn't internalize that statement. You know what I mean? And I should have internalized it more. I really should have, but I didn't. So I had these definite ideas of how things were supposed to go, and how a good pregnancy and a good delivery and a good mom would do these things. And then at my, was it 1 month, 2 month appointment, I went to actually right from the beginning, but I didn't listen to her right away. The first midwife that I went to in Peoria, when we lived in Peoria, because during all this, by the way, we moved. We picked up house and moved to Chicago. And my husband got a promotion, and I had to quit my job, and I couldn't find a job here, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I had to get a new midwife and everything in the midst of this. So even the first midwife, very early days, said, you are not gaining enough weight. You need to eat ice cream. You need to eat, like dairy and stuff like that. And I was like, no, I don't. Thanks anyway. And then we came up here, and the second midwife told me that, and she's like, your baby is really small. Or our estimations of what your baby is really small. You need to be eating more, this, and this. And so I was like, all right, fine. So I stuck to my vegetarian diet, but I did cave and start eating dairy and stuff again because I was concerned about how small my baby was. Granted, my entire family is very small. Like, I think my sister barely clears 5 foot. I barely clear 5 foot. I'm 5'1", 2", something like that. I mean, so we're all fairly short. We're, pigdish people. So I shouldn't have been that concerned about it, but I was, first time mom, you're pregnant, you don't know, an expert is telling you your baby's too small and you need to eat this. You're going to do everything that you can in your power to make sure that that baby's okay. So I was doing that, and then I gained a lot of weight, unfortunately. And they kept saying, well, your baby's so small. How is your baby so small? That should have been my clue. When I was gaining like 40 pounds and my baby was gaining maybe a pound, it's like, okay, this isn't working, you guys. But anywho, so yeah, and then I wanted completely like no drug, blah 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 birth. Well, my labor ended up lasting for about 3 days. From like early on, like early labor was about a day, like maybe half a day or whatever, to the point where I was getting contractions where I couldn't talk through, and those lasted about a day. And then I finally went into the hospital because they were 3-4 minutes apart, and I'm like, I need to go to the hospital. And I get there, and I was not even, like, I was dilated, but it was like not even anything. And I'm like, they're constant. They are every 2 minutes. They were seriously constant. I'm like, I must be near transition now, right? Because my mom told me when the contractions are constant that you're near transition. They're like, no, you're not even close. You're like 4 centimeters. I'm like, oh my God. And they said, look, you're stalling. Even though you feel the contractions and they are contracting, nothing is happening. So you have 2 options, basically, at the end of this 3-day stint. You can either get a C-section or get an epidural and see if that helps anything. If it doesn't, we're still going to have to take it out via C-section in a few hours. But, you can try the epidural and see if letting your body rest enough to give birth naturally or vaginally will work. And so, yeah, so I did have to get an epidural for that. But luckily then it worked, and my body was able to relax enough, and I could have Cara naturally. So that was wonderful. And then let's see, what was the other? Oh, I wanted to breastfeed. I am breastfeeding. That's, I'm not saying that that didn't work out. But when she was first born, she had to go to the NICU for a week. So I had to, like, we couldn't just put her, because I held her for maybe a minute, long enough for them to cut the cord, and then they had to tape her because she wasn't breathing or wasn't breathing enough or something like this. She wasn't pinking up fast enough. She was having retractions in her ribs. Like, you could see the retractions, and then they had to take her to the NICU and all that. And so I was pumping for the first week of her life, and then she was so small, and some other issues that I'll get into later. When they sent us home, we had to mix formula with the breast milk to really beef up her calories. She was eating like 3 times the calories that an infant should be eating because she could not gain weight. It was like she had a heart defect, and it was impossible for her to gain weight because her body was basically running a marathon every minute of every single day. So we had to mix a little bit of formula, but I pumped. I did exclusive pumping for the first 4 months, I want to say. She had her surgery at 2 months, and then it was a couple months after that where I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And because we had tried before, and she's like, what are you doing? Why? No, I'm hungry. Get it out of my face. I want food. What is this? And she didn't like connect the dots. But then at 4 months, I said, you know what, I'm just going to try it. And we sat down, and she latched, and then it was like, bottle, what bottle, whatever, I don't need that. You know what I mean? So it was great. It was just the right time. So yeah, physically, it was draining, and it obviously, motherhood is draining. It took a toll on me, pregnancy, and motherhood. Right after I had her, I sustained a back injury somehow. I don't know. Probably due in part to scoliosis, which I didn't know I had, but apparently I do. So, the pregnancy and the delivery could not have made that any better. So yeah, I mean, motherhood just physically, besides, pregnancy and whatnot, and is just draining. Psychologically, the expectations that you have for being a mother and pregnancy and whatnot is absolutely like, it's disappointing no matter what, because no matter what, you're never going to live up to whatever ideals you have in your head. Even if you had the perfect dolphin-assisted water birth, it's not, it's not going to be what you really wanted. Oh, you should have done this better. Oh, you shouldn't have yelled at your spouse during that contraction. Or, I mean, you're always going to have regrets. And because there is so much built up on this ideal of the perfect pregnancy and the perfect delivery and the perfect, the perfect mom, you're never going to be the perfect mom. So I think that's like the worst stereotype. It's the most detrimental idea of ourselves that we can have. And that takes a toll on you psychologically, for sure. Yeah, so I guess in summary, I had a lot of expectations. None of them went to plan at all. Oh, except breastfeeding. Yay. And I am raising her vegetarian. Yay. But my husband refuses to let me eat vegan or let her eat vegan. So whatever. But we're working on it, right? Baby steps. My stepmom taught her how to do that trick. She'll go. It's adorable. So yeah. So I guess that was really about it for this video. Sorry if it was kind of long and rambly. Yeah, so what were some of the expectations? I guess if you want to make a reply video, that would be awesome. If you want to just comment in the down bar below, that would be awesome too. I'll try to remember to actually transcribe the question in the down bar below there. But yeah, the question to discuss or whatever is what were some of the expectations that you had for pregnancy? What were some of the expectations that you had for labor and delivery? Did you really want a no drug water assisted or dolphin assisted water birth? Did you want the epidural? Did you want one thing but then ended up having to do another thing for safety reasons, or just because that's how things go? Yeah, let me know. And what were the outcomes of those? Did you feel completely devastated when you didn't get the experience that you wanted? Like for me, I'm not devastated. I guess I'm disappointed more than anything. I'm just, I don't know, I guess very sad. But with me, what I do with sad things is I don't look at them. They go in that room, I don't have to look at them. Like I refuse to look at my daughter's baby pictures. The very first pictures that were taken of her when she was first born, I refuse to look at them. If I accidentally see them, it's like, I mean, I won't cry or anything, but it's so heartbreaking to see her with all those tubes coming out of her, and to remember, those first few days when I couldn't even touch her. I could, well, no, I could hold her hand from the intensive care. But yeah, I mean, I don't even think about it. Like if I start to remember when she was born, I immediately block it out and try to think about something else, because it's not a happy memory, and it's not one of those, beautiful happy birth stories. It's very heartbreaking to think about how sick she was and how close to losing her we were. So I kind of block it all out. But so I guess I'm sad, maybe devastated, maybe, I just like, I'm not even on the radar though, because I don't even think about it. I completely block it out. It's that painful for me. So yeah. So what was your experience? Were you devastated? Did you get everything that you wanted? Are you, completely, that's like the rosiest, happiest memory that you have in your life, and you're going to cherish it forever? God, I hope that's your experience. I really do. I really do. I would never want anybody to have. I mean, there's enough emotions wrapped up in labor and delivery and giving birth without any disappointments added in there. Anyway, comment back, and I will talk to you later.